Hey guys, it's Tyler. I apologize for not being able to be there in class today. I sort of had a last minute schedule change pop up with track, so thanks to Sydney and Gabby for adapting and working with me to be able to get this thing figured out. I'll be doing the research article portion of Gabby, Sid, and I's project to finish up the presentation here. So, my research article was out of the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, and it was on the effect of intravenous iron sucrose on exercise tolerance in anemic and non-anemic patients with symptomatic chronic heart failure and iron deficiency. So, the purpose of the study was to test the hypothesis that intravenous iron improves exercise tolerance in anemic and non-anemic patients with symptomatic chronic heart failure and an iron deficiency. So the subjects, they had 35 patients with chronic heart failure and iron deficiency. There's an older population, average age was around 64 years old, and the peak oxygen consumption at the pretest was at 14.0 for a VO2 max. Qualifying patients were randomly assigned into either the treatment group or the control group. The treatment group received 16 weeks of intravenous iron sucrose, and then all patients continued to receive optimal conventional treatment for chronic heart failure. So, the treatment group received iron weekly unless their ferritin levels were above 500 nanograms per milliliter, and then at weeks 4, 8, 12, and 16. Patients were scheduled to be seen at weeks 1, 4, 8, 12, 16, and 18, and then the exercise test that they did was a VO2 max test. These were conducted at those weekly intervals, or at the weeks 1, 4, 8, 12, 16, 18. They used a slightly modified method of doing it, and then they measured ventilation, oxygen uptake, and carbon dioxide production during these tests. So, the results of the study. So, iron significantly improved the absolute VO2 max in anemic patients, but not in non-anemic patients. Iron had no significant effects on exercise duration. The changes in VO2 were related to changes in transferrin saturation in anemic patients. I'll get more into that in a second. So, the major finding of the study was that in symptomatic patients with chronic heart failure and abnormal indices of iron metabolism suggestive of possible iron deficiency, treatment with intravenous iron was well tolerated and associated with significant improvements in maximal exercise capacity as quantified by VO2 max. Okay, that was a lot of big words. Let's kind of go into that a little bit. So, in English, individuals that received the intravenous iron who were symptomatic and anemic had higher quality exercise than individuals in the control group. So the duration of the maximal effort test stayed the same, so the duration of the VO2 maxes didn't really change, but their body reacted better to and was more efficient during these maximal efforts. So if anyone has done a VO2 max or has seen a VO2 max administered, you know that the duration of the test is not the end all. It's not what tells how well your or how high your VO2 max is going to be. Someone who goes for 12 minutes in a VO2 max versus someone who goes 10 minutes in a VO2 max, the person who goes 10 minutes can still end up having a higher VO2 max. So why did this happen? So iron plays an important role in hemoglobin, the oxygen carrying part of your red blood cells. So hemoglobin actually represents about 2/3 of all the iron in your body. And if you do not have enough iron, you're not going to be able to make enough healthy oxygen carrying red blood cells. So oftentimes aerobic training obviously pushes the circulatory system to its limits, and if your body is not able to produce and circulate enough of these healthy red blood cells, that's when you see the symptoms of anemia take place in the body. All right, that's going to be all from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and once again, I apologize for having to use the screencast and not be there in person. Thanks for listening to this part, and I'll send it back over to Sid and Gabby now. Thanks, guys.